All right, let's talk about habits. Specifically, we're going to dive into a massive idea from the book Atomic Habits that explains why most of our new habits just fail. It all comes down to one simple little shift in how you think, and trust me, it can change absolutely everything. Let's get right into it. So be honest here for a sec. How many times have you had that rush of motivation? You tell yourself, okay, this is it. This time is different. You get your workout clothes ready, you download the language app, you are completely fired up to make a change. And then what happens? 2 days later, maybe three if you're lucky, poof, it's gone. The motivation just vanishes, right? The old routine sneaks back in, and you're left sitting there wondering, what on earth went wrong? If that sounds familiar, hey, you're not alone. This happens to pretty much everyone, and there's a really fascinating reason why. Here's the thing. The problem isn't your motivation, and it's probably not your willpower either. According to James Clear, the author of the book, the real issue is your approach. See, most of us try to build new habits from the outside in, when the real secret is to work from the inside out.
And to really get this, we've got to look at what he calls the 3 layers of behavior change. The best way to picture it is like an onion. You've got the outer layers, and then you have that powerful, fundamental core right in the middle.
So here's where it gets really interesting. Most of us, when we want to change, we start on that outer layer, the outcomes. We focus on the result. We say things like, I want to lose 15 pounds, or I want to get an A on my exam. Some of us get a little smarter, and we move one layer in to the process. We focus on the system, the action. I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, or I'm going to study for an hour every night. And look, that's better, for sure. But the real, lasting, sticky change, that happens at the very core, your identity. And this is the part we almost always completely ignore. And that brings us to the most important point of this whole thing. To make a habit actually stick, you have to stop focusing on what you want to achieve and start focusing on who you wish to become. This tiny shift in perspective, well, that's where all the magic happens. Let's make this super simple. You could have a goal that says, I want to read more books. That's an outcome. It's an event, something you're trying to do. But what if you shifted it to, I am a reader? See the difference? That's not a goal anymore. It's a statement about your identity. It's a declaration of the kind of person you are. And this quote it nails it perfectly. When you're trying to do something, you're constantly fighting with your old self. You're forcing a behavior that feels unnatural. But when you focus on becoming someone, every little action you take just feels right. It feels aligned with who you are. Your brain absolutely loves to be consistent. It works really, really hard to make sure your actions match up with your self-image. So if you truly believe you are a certain type of person, you'll start to unconsciously act in ways that prove that belief is true. Habits that clash with your identity, they'll always feel like a struggle, and they just won't last. Okay, here's the classic example that makes this crystal clear. Picture this. 2 people who are trying to quit smoking are offered a cigarette. The first person says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. Now listen to those words. That statement implies they are still a smoker, they just happen to be resisting an urge right now. Their identity hasn't changed. But the second person says, no thanks, I don't smoke. Whoa, that is a powerful statement of identity. It's not something they're trying to do, it's who they are now. Now, which one do you think is going to succeed in the long run? And this reframes the entire game. So stop thinking about habits as just a to-do list of chores you have to get through. Start thinking about the kind of person you really want to be. Do you want to become a healthy person, a disciplined student, a creative artist? You have to define the identity first, and then the habits will naturally follow. I absolutely love this metaphor. Just think about it. Every time you choose to go for a walk instead of sitting on the couch, you are casting a vote for I am a healthy person. Every time you write just one paragraph instead of scrolling on your phone, you're casting a vote for I am a writer. These tiny little votes, they add up. Day after day, they build a new identity. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? How do you go from just wanting a new identity to truly, deeply believing it? Well, the process is actually way simpler than you might think. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, you can't just snap your fingers and decide you're a totally different person. Your brain's too smart for that. It's not going to believe you without some proof. So what's the answer? It's surprisingly simple. That's it. That's the whole secret in one word. Evidence. You convince yourself of a new identity by giving your brain undeniable proof through your actions, one small win at a time. See, motivation is flimsy. It's an emotion. It comes and it goes. But evidence is solid. It's real. Your habits aren't just things you do. They are the physical proof you're giving to your brain about who you are. The more evidence you pile up, the stronger that new identity gets.
Let's go back to that reader example. If you want to become a reader, please don't try to read a whole book this week. That's a huge jump. Instead, start ridiculously small. I'm talking read one single page today. That's it. That's a tiny piece of evidence. Then do it again tomorrow. That's another vote. After a week of reading just one page a day, you've started to collect some pretty solid evidence.
And through that consistent, tiny action, your perception of yourself actually starts to shift. You're not just trying to be a reader anymore. You have proof. You are a person who reads every single day. Your identity has genuinely started to change, all based on the concrete evidence you gave yourself. And this is the ultimate goal. This is the whole point. When you truly see yourself as a reader, you don't need to force yourself to pick up a book. It's just what people like you do. When you see yourself as an athlete, choosing to work out becomes automatic, not a chore. The behavior just follows the belief.
So let's just put it all together. The old way is focusing on that outcome. I want to score 95%. The new and way more powerful way is to focus on the identity. I am becoming a focused student. And that identity is what will drive all the little actions, the studying, the note-taking, the time management, that naturally lead you to that great score you wanted all along.
Okay, so now it's your turn. I want you to actually pause and think about this for a second. Forget the goals, forget the results. What is one identity you truly want to build for yourself? Is it, I am a writer, I am an athlete, or maybe I am someone who is financially responsible?
That one sentence, that powerful I am statement, that's the real starting line for lasting change. And you know what? I genuinely want to see what you come up with. So take a second and type your new identity in the comments below. Just declaring it is the very first powerful vote you can cast for yourself.
Now, this whole identity shift is the foundation, but believe me, there's so much more to it. In our next explainer, we are going to get into the nitty-gritty science of how habits actually get wired into your brain. We're talking the 4-step loop of cue, craving, response, and reward. It's fascinating stuff you really won't want to miss. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell to continue this journey with us.